Good morning, everybody. I'm gonna try to do this outside before it gets too noisy around here. I woke up this morning thinking about making this video, so here it is. I want to talk small creek fishing, ultralight creek fishing, like ultralight fishing, maybe up to medium light, and I'm gonna try to go over a few different lures, what I recommend, and like maybe what rod and reel I recommend throwing on them. I got a bundle of ultralight stuff. Ooh, that was trying to attack me. And I just broke one of the ones I use a lot. But I love just going to a creek, grabbing a handful of lures, and I throw it in a bag, just a few different simple lures, and you're just walking the creek or wading the creek, and you're just tossing and boom, picking out little fish. You know, little sunfish here, little bass here, little creek chub here, just boom, picking out fish. And you can do that. You can go to a creek fish an hour and catch 20 fish sometimes. If they're just biting, or if you find the right spot, and it's just a blast. And you know, and even at a slow time, you're gonna catch 10 fish if you're just kind of fishing for whenever they're biting anyways, which that's what I'm talking about, because right now it's about to kick on. I went to the creek yesterday, or no, 2 days ago, and caught a handful of fish. They're starting to get active, but here in, like, at least around here, this is the second week of March. By the end of March, they're gonna be on fire. April, you know, you're gonna be able to go to a creek, and they're gonna be boom, popping, hitting everywhere. All right, let's start out with just like real ultralight. And what does it take to get started? Like, maybe you're not into this much fishing, or you're just trying to figure out what to use. These right here are the Shakespeare Micro Series. This is a 5.6, and it's all tangled up, of course. And I got a little Abu Garcia Silver Max reel. This one here is the 5 foot, and it's got a little fluger reel. This one, I think I got 2 pound line or something like that on this one. But this right here is a great starter. If you're just going to go buy one, these are just great little poles. Actually, I have this is the light action. So these are great just starter setups if you want just to find something cheap, get fishing, be able to cast some light lures and have fun, you know, pulling in fish. Now, is this something I stick with? No, because I like the higher quality you go, the better it feels, the more sensitive it is. I got a couple over here. This one here is the PISCIFUN ultralight. They only make one size, a 6.6, but it's a whole lot stronger than these little ones here. This one here is the Cast King Calvin's. I don't know if they make this one anymore. This is one of my favorite rods. The ends, I need to fix the end, it's messing up. This is a 6 foot. This is my favorite setup. So my favorite setup, if you're going like light action creek fishing, ultralight light. This one here is actually a light, but it'll throw any ultralight lure. So 6 foot light, ultralight, that size right there, 6 foot's like my favorite go-to. I put a 1,000 size reel. Well, that one's a 2,000 size. I got them all mixed around, been changing up a bunch of stuff, but 1,000 size reel, like this one right here. This one actually got 2 pound line on. This is a 6 foot ultralight lose. It's a little bit nicer rod, but it feels pretty good. Got 2 pound line on this one. I use a lot for real light stuff, trout, but 2 pound or 4 pound line. But I would recommend going with like some Trout Magnet 4 pound line, mono, just starting out with, because whenever you snag and break off, you know, you don't have too much investment line. It's still plenty strong. 6 foot rod, ultralight or light, 4 pound mono. And then you can throw all these lures that I'm about to show, and it'll throw them fine. Let's start out with something that just very basic that you're gonna throw out there to try to catch anything. Of course, we gotta start with, got some kids watching over here. We gotta start with Trout Magnets or the itty bits. These are 2 really small lures, hardly, you know, they're just tiny size. I love the Trout Magnet jig heads and the Bobby Garland jig heads. A 1/64 ounce. Throw these dudes around. You don't have to catch that far when you're out in the creek. So toss these little guys around. When it hits the water, it's so light, it's just gonna slowly sink through the water, and it's so hard for a fish to resist. It's just, you know, they're just going, oh, okay, I'll just suck that thing in. It's just a slow falls right in front of, you know, right through the water column. If it's 2 foot deep creek, it's gonna sink for a little while. So I like these 1/48 ounce to 1/64 ounce. And you know, that's a perfect size, perfect little lure just to catch a bunch of different little fish. You can get a lot of fish, and a lot of times the bigger panfish like these small lures. So the big sunfish and green sunfish or bluegill, whatever, they're gonna like suck in these little bitty lures just because it's so easy and it's right in front of their face. And from there, basically the same thing, but we're gonna upsize a little bit. This is a lure I'm just gonna throw if I'm trying to I have no idea what's in there. I'm just trying to find out what's in here. Don't know much about it. Maybe I've never even been to the creek. I just got it ready to go. Panfish Assassins or Bobby Garlands. Just a little, I think they're 2-inch long. These are 2-inch long. I think the Panfish Assassins are 1.5 inches. I've caught thousands of fish off both of these. And most of the time what I'm gonna go with is a 1/32 ounce. So I'm still gonna use an ultralight rod or light rod, and I'll move up to a 1/32 ounce. Or 1/16. You can throw a 1/16, but I like that 1/32 ounce because it still has a little bit of a slow fall to it, and I can still throw it 20 or 30 feet when I need to. Just, you know, real simple things. Basically, just upsize from what we just showed, and it's still going to catch a lot of different fish. And just something that get it out there, something real simple looking, looks like a little minnow or something falling, and fish are going to hit it. Of course, we're going to go with Rooster Tails. Everybody's caught fish off a Rooster Tail probably. If you haven't, sometimes Rooster Tails work even better than certain other lures. You don't know. I fish some creeks where they're not even deep enough where I can't throw a Rooster Tail in there. So I only got quick little pockets where I'm gotta throw a little lure like a Trout Magnet or a Bobby Garland, where I gotta throw it in that pocket, a little hole, let it sink down in there. Some you know, creeks are a little bit spread apart. Maybe the water's a little murky, and you're pulling a Rooster Tail across it, and it's gonna get a lot more attention. So Rooster Tail, I'm gonna throw that out there. The Rebel TNR, it's a lure that I started using, and I'm surprised how many different types of fish it catches. It catches really good sized fish, and it'll catch little fish too. The little bitsy minnow, very good too. I don't use it as much, but I know a lot of people use it and it catches a lot of fish. Little minnow crankbaits. Of course, there's hundreds of different lures out there, but let's go ahead to one of my favorite ultralight lures, and then we'll go to a little bit bigger ones, or we'll talk about a little bit bigger size here in just a second. And that is the Rebel Crick Hoppers. Yeah, we gotta get a close up on these. If you're a topwater bass fishing guy, like you love topwater, you have to try out these Crick Hoppers and for panfish. When is the right time to use the Crick Hopper? Well, I've caught fish on these year round. Even in the wintertime, I've caught fish on them. This yellow one, I love it. It's just so fun. I don't know what it is. I think they all work great, but I like the yellow one, so bright. But this is the best time. I'll tell you when the best time to use this Rebel Crick Hopper. When you walk up to a creek or walk up to a little bridge over a creek, and you look down and you spit in it, and when it hits the water, you see fish swarm to it. Or you go and you ever thrown a little stick or something, a little twig, you throw it into the water, and maybe you see some fish, and you throw it in there, and all of a sudden, fish are swarming to it. That's when you want to throw this for sure. Throw it out there, those fish are gonna swarm to it and just explode on it sometimes. You can twitch it, or you can like kind of pop it on top of the water, and they'll just pop it out of the water a lot of times, and then they'll come back for it. Sometimes they'll hit it 5 or 6 times. Or a lot of times, most catches are just kind of cranking it slow, and it's got a good little wobble. Cast it out there, pop it, start reeling it in. The fish see it when it hits the water, they see it when it pops, and as it starts swimming in, they'll chase it down. So it'll catch all different types of fish, and it's probably my favorite like ultralight light action, just because it's so fun to fish. And when they're hitting it, it's hilarious because they're just like, you're getting little 3-inch sunfish just exploding on it, while another one's coming at it from another side, and it's really fun when they're active. Sometimes the only thing on the downside on this is that sometimes the bigger fish won't hit it. It's funny. Like, I'll throw this and I'll see some 12-inch bass. Sometimes they'll hit, they're hammering it, and a lot of times, or not a lot of times, but sometimes I've been to creeks where I'm seeing these bass and they're not committing to it, and they won't hit it. Maybe they'll look at it and turn away. That's when we're gonna change up size a little bit. So let's go up just a little. Oh, almost forgot, another big important thing is how to tie your knot. Especially for really small line. You're throwing 2-pound line or 4-pound line, that line can get burned real easy. I used to always do the improved clinch knot. I think that's what it's called. That's the only thing I knew how to do until someone showed me how to do a uni knot, and I love it. That's all I do now is uni knot. So look up the uni knot It's real simple. You take the line, you fold it through 5 times around itself, and then when it cinches down, it doesn't burn the line, doesn't hurt it. It's totally fine, and you can tie a really light line and do different things. So look up that. There's really good videos on how to do that, and that'll help for tying light line, and that's what I use. When you're approaching a creek, stand back from the bank. Don't walk right up to it. Stand back 10 feet or so and just peer over the edge. You got 2 banks. You got the bank you're walking up on, you got the bank on the other side. Everybody wants to walk up and cast the other bank. I've caught so many fish by casting in the bank right in front of me before I even see what's in there. I just throw it over it and let it drop in there, and you'll be surprised. So start approaching the creek, working your way up to it. Cast close, make a couple extra steps, cast in, work on casting through trees and around logs and all kinds of things. Take a few risky casts. Throw on some cheap lures, a little Bobby Garland and a jig head, and take a few risky casts into some holes. You might be surprised what you catch. You might hang up, but it's worth the risk a lot of times. Another thing, I'm adding all these little tips in afterwards. I'm thinking about them. Go buy a pair of cheap polarized glasses. These are spider wire, $12 at Walmart. It is amazing how much difference it is using this over not using polarized glasses in certain situations. Sometimes it doesn't help too much, and a lot of times it's amazing how much difference it is. So just get you a simple, cheap pair of polarized glasses. Just go buy them, take them when you're fishing, and you'll be surprised how useful it is. All right, so if you're like me and you like to catch everything that's in the creek and you want to be able to catch small fish and the bigger fish, when I'm going wading, I'm taking one fishing pole with me and that's it. That's where I really enjoy these medium lights, or a good light rod, or like a nice medium light rod. Now it might sound a little heavy, but I can still throw a tiny little Bobby Garland, no problem, on a 1/32 inch jig head. I got a 6-pound braid on this one. I got 8-pound braid on this one. And I can throw a crick hopper if I want to. I can throw a little trout magnet. And I can also throw, let's go, say those bass aren't biting and you want to upsize to something a little bit bigger, a little craw. I found that a 3-inch size swim bait will a lot of times get those bass that won't hit the small lures. They'll get them to hit that. The little craw poppies, maybe a rebel crawl. Just you're going up to almost, I mean, you're basically going up to bass fishing lures, but you can also throw it on your light stuff. So this isn't exactly ultralight style, but it's a style I like to use to catch a variety of sizes of fish, and I can kind of target the little ones and I can target the big ones with real thin braid. You know, you can also go with like 6-pound mono. I used to use it a lot, but I'd rather go with the braid where I can toss out those lures. And the medium lights still have enough flex to, if you catch a bluegill, it's got a flex to it. But if you want to hook a bass, it's got enough strength to hold it up too. So it's a good like intermediate. All right, so this video, it's kind of all over the place with small creek fishing, and hopefully there's a hint out there or a tip out there that helps you out. So, but next thing, so you got your rod picked out, you got your lures picked out that you're gonna throw on, you got your setup. How are you going to approach this creek? So, and what all are you gonna take? I mean, what I would suggest is grabbing a small wading bag. There's all kinds of them out there. This Magellan one, I think, is $20-something. This one's a little bit bigger. This is my PISCIFUN one. This is what I carry a lot, but sometimes I carry way too much stuff. I was like, it's getting weighed down. All I need is 3 or 4, lures. So a smaller bag, or just go get you like a little bitty, wading pack from Walmart or something. And like I'm gonna grab a couple packs of lures, a couple packs of hooks, maybe some extra line, or a couple, or little bat or a little box like this. It's got all kinds of different things in there. And you're like, you know what, that's all I need. I'm grabbing that and I'm going. And if you need to make a couple adjustments, you can. And you're just gonna go. You're gonna fish that creek. You're gonna just walk the bank. You got a one fishing pole in your hand. One bag on, so it's got no weight. You can go forever. Maybe a pair of boots, some muck boots or something like that. Or maybe if you want to get in the water, you just got old tennis shoes on, and you just go and you just start hitting these holes. And that's probably the most fun that I can come up with. It's funny how simple it is, But if you find the right places and you get the right time, you can just really wear out a bunch of fish, and you might catch 6 or 7 species. And that's the kind of things I like. I love catching a variety of fish. You just never know what's going to come out of there. And then you'll get surprised that, you know, you're fishing a tiny little place and you get a 2-pound bass or a giant bluegill. Some of my biggest species have been from the smallest creeks. My biggest rock bass has been from a tiny creek. My biggest red ear was from a tiny little creek. I've caught little bitty catfish in a tiny little creek. Just, it's all kinds of crazy little things. And a lot of times people are just, you know, they're passing it by. And when I talk about tiny, I'm talking about creeks that are from waist deep down to ankle deep. Like, I've gone to some that you walk in ankle deep water until you get to a deep hole. But when you find that deep hole, there's all kinds of fish in there. So that's just a lot of my stuff that I go over, would fish with or use. Everybody's have to have their own variations. If your water's a little bit murkier, your water's this type of water, you know, but that time of the year is here. It's time to get out and start exploring. I know up north, if you're watching this video, you probably got a little more time to wait. But here in Tennessee and south, it's starting to pick up, starting the time. Get out there and go find some creek fish.